What's up, you guys? Benny T here, and welcome to Word Wednesday. This is episode 25, and I have my homie here, Sammer, local photography, MPS alumni, and a personal friend of mine and longtime SayWerd supporter. Sammer, welcome to the show. Right off the bat, we usually let people, fill them in, who you are, where you're from, what it is you do,
Sure.
how it is you got here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This is surreal for me to be like on the other side of the camera with you.
Yeah.
I am a photographer, and one of the first times I met Ben was at the Hyde House warehouses and I was like shooting some of your old like SayWord drops, like
Yeah.
hats, shirts. It was cool. Shlee was there, Jen was there, Jane was there. My buddy Jared was there's a lot. It was cool. It was like a moment of like pure collaborate. But anyways, I'm Sammer Ghani. I'm a photographer, videographer, MPS alumni, Milwaukeean, born and raised person, I guess.
Yeah. Was that really the first time we met in person?
I think so. It was at one of those shoots, unless I'm like misremembering. But I feel like maybe that was the first time we like really connected.
Yeah, that was definitely super early on. Was that like around
18,
17? Okay,
yeah.
18. Yeah.
Or 19 maybe, but
Yeah,
still.
this is the 7-year anniversary of SayWord this May, actually.
Congrats.
So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
Right?
it was probably around 18 because so that first one was
well, I feel like we got that. If my memory serves me right, we got that studio space in February of 19.
Okay. It's crazy to see because Milwaukee, I always feel, is one of those cities that can definitely, like I always say, like chew you up. And it's cool to see that people that came up, like we came up around the same time and are still persevering and growing and succeeding and getting more projects and stuff. So it's super cool to kind of see. I mean, we always touch base, it seems like, and do something every year or like pretty close to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because just like when we do the Born and Raised thing 2 years ago, that was about 2 and a half.
Yeah,
So,
all the videos. Yeah, for
so
sure.
that was about 2-ish years ago. So we've definitely still always done stuff, but it's super cool. What do you got going on right now? You in the middle of any projects or anything?
Wrapping something up right now. I did a project with the Metcalf Park Community Bridges. It's like the neighborhood community nonprofit that works on turning renters into homeowners, turning empty lots into parks and stuff. It's super cool. Okay. I met them through Imagine MKE and 21 and 22, and they're great people to work with. But they hired me to film like a mini doc. It's like 20 minutes long about systematic racism and housing inequity and how that plays a huge role into the work that they do. Yeah. So it's cool. I feel like since those days of us coming up together, the landscape of our work has definitely changed so much, you know? And like when we were in that studio together, I was like, man, I can't wait to hit 3,000 followers. That'll be fun. You know, but I was so focused on that, you know, I was so focused on like pumping out content, making sure people knew who I was and like making a name for myself, whatever that actually means, or what I thought it meant back then. And now for you run a business and you're running a family and like, the landscape is so different. Yeah. It's so different.
I had one kid at the time.
Yeah, totally. Like, and like selling the stuff, like that's half the game now. The other half is like the other shit, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's funny because, you know, at that time I was doing just like a bunch of pop-ups, trapping out the crib, stuff like that, to, you know, now being in the second location and having the second kid and just everything's just a very different role, I feel, both for me and like business wise and in life. I feel you're the same. You do so much like positive, like Milwaukee core work. I feel like a lot of contribution to the city that a lot of people may not feel like you create a lot of content that a lot of people viewing it may not know it came from you. But as soon as you've seen enough of your work, you can recognize just like the Sammer style. And I've seen like somebody post, like I've seen like on Milwaukee, or like somebody post a video and I'm like, oh, that kind of looks familiar. And then I'll see like you reshare it. I'm like, oh, because it's your footage. That makes sense. Like, no, I love that. I think that we both have done just a lot to like progress ourselves and to progress our field. We both, I feel, really stay true to like who we are and where we come from, and we really put on, I think, not only for the city but for ourselves, like really, really well. So
Yeah,
I love
thanks,
that.
man.
Yeah. So what would you say? Obviously, I know you've done some really cool projects. If you haven't checked out his Instagram, make sure you slide to his page and see some of the amazing projects and things he's done in the past. But where would you say are some of the like craziest places or scenarios that photography has gotten you? Because I know you've gotten in some just really cool projects or some really cool situations. What are some of those you think are like your top couple moments where you're like, holy shit, like this is where me being behind a camera has taken me. I never thought that.
That's like a really cool question that I don't think I get asked that kind of stuff very often. But as a photographer, I think I have to give like a lot of credit to people who have vouched for me to be in those positions. Photography is such a secondary craft, I think, or like it's a service. So when you get hired for it, or when you're co-opted into a project or asked to be a part, you feel. I think everyone in production feels like their role, their
Yeah.
like little gear in the project. So anything that I've been able to do that's really cool, I think a lot of gratitude goes to the people who have been saying my name while I wasn't in the room.
Yeah.
And I could feel that when I'm like on those sets. But I think Giannis is a big one. Definitely like a
Yeah.
big number one is like
Super cool.
working with him on a Breitling watch shoot. I didn't even know Breitling was a watch.
Yeah.
But he's a watch guy now. And
Big watch guy.
He's a watch guy now, and that was cool. We did it at the. I'm not even gonna say where we did it in Milwaukee, but it was like really cool. It's a unique shoot. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then I was on tour last year, and I don't know if this is my favorite memory, but it's gonna go down in history as one of my most memorable memories. We were driving from Colorado or Denver, Colorado to Telluride, Colorado. I was with Buffalo Nichols and his band, and selling merch, taking photos, helping drive, loading in and off. I was basically doing everything. I was filling every hole on tour that like we didn't have somebody for. It was a great experience. Like I loved it. I can't wait to do it again. But I didn't know this about Colorado. It doesn't look big. You're looking at it on a map and it's like, oh yeah, it's like as big as any other state.
Mm-hmm.
But it's full of so many mountains that you can't just drive
through.
Yeah. So we're driving from Denver after a show to Telluride, and he had to sound check at like 11 a.m. and it's like a 6 to 7 hour drive. So
Which is crazy.
So we're driving
Doesn't
through
seem like
it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
So we're driving through the night, and like there's like an hour and a half, 2 hours left, and the road is just closed. It's like 3 a.m. and the road it's just shut down until 7 a.m. and it's like, okay, that's a risk if we just wait with these like other semis who are just waiting for the road to reopen.
Is there a reason they close them?
I have no idea. If it was like
road's taking a break.
Yep.
Give it 5.
Exactly. Some construction or whatever. So we find like we're like literally on Google Maps, like zooming in and finding these off roads and like making our own route. We have no idea where we are. But apparently we were in this place called Black Canyon, which is a huge mountain. So we're taking one of these side roads, and like 30, 40 minutes into the drive, Carl, Buffalo Nichols, he's like, we've only been driving up like this whole time. And I didn't notice that because I'm like, it's pitch black out. I'm like I'm in the front seat, I'm like spotting for deer or like whatever. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So I'm like, we're like literally cliffside driving up this mountain. And I peek over. I hadn't done this for like 40 minutes. And you know those like blinking, flashing, like telephone giant poles?
Yeah.
That was like way below us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, I think I know how far up we are. And so that was definitely one of the most memorable and scary. We were going like 12 miles an hour, like on this dirt road in a band van, like not equipped for this road.
Yeah.
Well, but we make it down the mountain. We go to the first gas station just to like reset. And there's this mosaic of Black Canyon because we couldn't see it. It was pitch
Yeah.
black, and it's this like the biggest fucking mountain I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh, thank God it wasn't during the day. That would have been like infinitely scarier to know how high it
Sometimes,
was.
yeah. Better not to know.
Yeah, but
Yep.
all that's to say is it does take me to these unique places,
Yeah.
these strange, interesting places, from like working with a Milwaukee all-star to like being in a van on the top of a mountain in pitch black darkness. But
would you say that that's probably one of the like sketchiest driving situations you've ever been in?
yeah, I guess so. Now that I think about it,
Yeah,
for sure, yeah, definitely. But that's tour. I think tour, like being on the road doing
Part of
art, it's like you attract strange, and you're tapping into a different energy of the world. I think
I've always wanted to go on like a cross country road trip in like a van with a bunch of dudes because were you into skating when we were
yeah,
okay.
definitely.
So I think of when Thrasher would do King of the Road, and they would do like all the different skate teams like against each other, and you had to
Yes.
do like all the like challenges and stuff. And I've never done that. I've done like road trips with like a homie, but like just vanning it up. I mean, that also happens when you have a kid when you're 20.
Totally.
You tend to lose out. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But man, I've always thought about that. I'll probably do it when I'm 50.
You can still do it, yeah, for
me
sure.
And a bunch of dudes, we'll do it when we're 50.
Just do it, smoking cigars and shit the whole time. It'll be
like
great.
in Step Brothers, they're like, even better.
Yeah.
We had it when we were adults.
Yeah, literally,
yeah,
dude.
I probably won't be skating, but I'll be doing probably everything else.
There's something about like traveling in that way that where you're almost not aimless, but like you're like so agendaless that you just tap, like you just find the weirdness of the world.
Yeah,
it's cool, and it can be scary too, but it's like, oh shit, we're like really living right now.
The last like long road trip, it wasn't even a road trip. We drove from Milwaukee to Davenport, Florida.
Holy shit.
So it's 15, well, they say it's like 17 hours, but when we went, Zora was my eldest daughter was about 7, and Chelsea was 8 months pregnant, and we drove, and we were going to go to Disney and to spend just like time with my sister and my nephew who had just been born, and we left Milwaukee at like 10 p.m. and we're driving straight through. We literally only stopped for the bathroom or gas. We eat and gas, and then we went bathroom. That was it. Maybe like 5 times. I'm not kidding you. We were like gunning. And my mom calls me and she's like, "Oh, where are you?" It was probably like 2:30. I'm like, "Oh, I'm just getting to Florida." She's like, "No, you're not. You're not here." I'm like, "No, I'm crossing the border now." She's like, "Benny, there's no way you guys are going to have to get a hotel and stay somewhere." And I'm like, no we're going to be there for dinner. And my sister Gianna's like, "Dude, there's no way. There's no way. I bet you $20 you won't be here." I said, "Okay." And we pull up, no bullshit, like 15 minutes before they were putting dinner on the table. We pull up, beep, beep. It was like 5:40. We pulled up, drove straight through the night. I think it turned out to be like 16 hours straight we drove. My Chelsea, because she was pregnant, I didn't want her to drive. She took over for like an hour and a half for me to nap real quick while we were like going through Tennessee. But then I hopped back in the driver's seat and we just powered through, and that was like the like road trip. But
dude, that's still epic.
Yeah, it was like a speed train.
Yeah.
Thing, but yeah,
that's awesome.
I need to do something like that. I feel. Do you have anything like that planned, like coming up?
I think I'm gonna hit the road with Buffalo again soon when it makes sense for him. But I do work with this company called Institute for Sustainable Communities, and they fund nonprofits across the nation that are investing in like green energy and stuff. And they found me because they were working with Walnut Way in Milwaukee. And someone through the channels was like, "Oh, I know a guy that can do the video for you." And they liked it so much that they hired me to do like stuff in New York and stuff in Texas. So it was like all last year, it was like either being on the road for that or being on tour. And Anna and I moved, and it felt like I kept calling our place the Airbnb because I was like, "I'm never here. I don't know where the fucking silverware is, you know, like which drawer the silverware is, because I'm like literally never here."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, I'm back at the Airbnb for a week, and then I'm back on the road, you know."
Back on the road, in and out.
So that was fun, but I've finally gotten like acclimated to it. We're coming up on a year soon, so that feels good. But yeah, I think I'll be back on the road a little bit.
Yeah, good. Good. So for this part, we do a this or that segment. Not sure if you've seen them before, but this week we're doing a 90s edition. So it's 5 questions. There's no right or wrong answer. They will probably tell you if you're right or wrong.
Yeah, I
But
can't
this is all
wait.
90s. It's real simple. If you want to give an explanation, you can, but by no means do you have to. Don't feel pressure. I will say
Okay.
usually people do,
I
but you don't have
I
to.
feel like I'm gonna
You can
have
tell me to
to.
piss right off if you want. Okay, Sam, you ready?
Yeah, I'm so
All
ready.
right. Question number 1. Better child movie, Home Alone or The Parent Trap?
Oh, I think it's Home Alone.
Okay.
Without a shadow of the doubt.
Okay.
Like Home Alone was such like a staple. Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Was there a Parent Trap 2? You know what I mean?
There
Like
probably
exactly.
was.
Exactly.
But do you need to make one when you hit perfection?
Oh. Oh shit.
Let me ask you this. Do you watch Home Alone outside of Christmas time?
I would consider Home Alone 2 more of the Christmas movie for
Okay.
me than
Okay.
but Home Alone 1 is a Christmas film.
Yeah. I like 2 more.
Yeah,
I think I like 2 more.
Wow. Parent Trap is a who was the actress that
Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan,
And
right?
she played 2 roles.
Yeah,
Give it up
she
for
crushed
her.
it. Yeah, she definitely I got to stick with my guns. It's Home Alone for sure. It's Home Alone.
Now, recent documentaries might sway your vote on this one. But question number 2 is going to be Disney Channel or Nickelodeon.
I did start watching the Nickelodeon documentary last night, actually.
Very heavy.
Very heavy.
Fuck.
It like ended with like one of the main actors, because I don't want to spoil it, coming and like the scene ended. I was like, oh, that's gonna be great. So there's gonna be some heavy lore here that's gonna sway my vote.
Okay.
And the lore is I never had cable growing up.
Okay.
We weren't like wealthy enough or like well off enough to have cable, so I would only watch Nickelodeon at friends' houses and sleepovers and stuff, or like in the morning after sleepovers was like the prime. I didn't know this, but that's like prime like SpongeBob time and all that shit, right?
Yep.
So as much as I yearned for Nickelodeon in my life, other poor kids will know that on Saturday and maybe specifically Sunday mornings after like recess and shit, they would show older Disney Channel shows.
Okay.
And for that reason, I had to choose Disney Channel.
Okay. See, Disney Channel is like tricky for me because I always forget that Disney Channel's also like Doug and Recess
Totally.
and like stuff like that I really, really did like. And then too, like I feel like it's like you start out as Nickelodeon when you're really little. And then you almost go to the Disney Channel because when we were kids, that was when Disney Channel was transferring from like all the cartoons to like the kids shows, like with like live action. And then after that, you kind of go to Cartoon Network. I feel like that was kind of like the 3 stages
And then Adult
of
Swim.
like, and then Adult Swim,
Yeah.
And then you'd go to like Spike or Comedy Central or
totally.
G4. And then,
G4. G4 was Attack of the Show, of course, dude. X-Play.
G4 had my favorite show where they would take the music videos and collab them with like the video games, and they would have
awesome.
There was a Destroy All Humans, Sum 41, Save Me collab. If you haven't seen it,
no,
one of the craziest
I'm gonna check. That's awesome. What? That's awesome.
So Disney Channel it is.
Disney Channel. I will say, disclaimer, Nickelodeon, timeless though.
Yeah.
It's like inarguable, right? Like,
yeah.
But
definitely. Yeah. All right, question number 3 comes in at The Simpsons or South Park? Simpsons?
The Simpsons.
Nothing better than Simpsons.
I've poor kid moment. You know, Simpsons came on right after Fresh Prince, right after that Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Then after that Frasier, you know, like and now I like Frasier, dude. Now I love it as an adult.
I've never given Frasier a chance as an adult, but when I was a kid,
Frasier
would come on and I'd be like, oh,
hostile.
My God.
We would literally get hostile. Yeah, literally, like turn this shit off, like. Boo! Like all that shit.
I'd much rather watch fucking Charmed or something.
Dude, literally, turn this shit off. So, but it's like Simpsons, no doubt, no cap. Like South Park as great as it is, as funny as it is, as
Yeah.
like quick as it is,
Doesn't touch.
timeless. Simpsons is
That's fair.
timeless. It's like
Yeah.
commodified into history,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. A stay at time travelers, future telling. Yeah,
Yes, a
that's
lot
do you
of
believe in that?
I think so. I think the evidence is like now like unequivocally like so positive. Like they've
Here's the
nailed
thing.
everything.
In The Simpsons, people are like, "Oh no, that's just coincidence." How many times is it a coincidence before? I feel like people just want to be in denial over things.
Like they literally stumbled onto something.
Yeah.
Like something.
But I'm also super into conspiracies and all that stuff, which we will get to. Trust me. But yeah, that's something I've always thought about. Is there's got to be something there because there's like 35 examples over the last 25 years of like stuff that they've put in an episode and then years later
like,
that exact thing
literal
happened.
Jokes or hypotheticals like that have no real relevant context to like that current time.
Correct.
Which is like really weird. But I just wonder if that Matt Groening, whatever his last name, I wonder if him and his writers like were able to analyze current pop culture so well that they were like, oh, this is literally gonna happen, like eventually.
Yeah. Also would help if one of them's from the future.
yeah, or had some like Indiana Jones thing that like let them see. Yeah, that's funny.
So question number 4 is going to be, what was the better after school snack, Dunkaroos or Shark Bites?
Are Shark Bites the gummies?
Yeah.
Okay, and the Dunkaroos are like the cheese sticks with the cheese, or like the Oreo ones.
It's usually
like,
the Dunkaroos is like the sweeter one. It's the like white sticks with like the creamy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
vanilla
Dunkaroos,
frosting.
obviously. Yeah.
They still make them. They don't make Shark Bites anymore.
Did you ever have it where like the Dunkaroos like came into your school and you all sat in like the cafeteria and like ate Dunkaroos?
No.
Yeah, they used to do like, okay, so like I went to this elementary. Maybe I'm exposing some deep lore here, but like
what elementary school did you go to?
Honey Creek. It's an MTS school.
Yeah,
and like they would
Honey
literally. This is crazy that this didn't happen to anyone else, because I brought this up a couple times within like the last year. Because like as you get older, you start to like go through your catalog of memories, and I was like, yeah, so we would all sit in the cafeteria like during the school day, like not during lunch.
Okay.
And they would give us like these rating sheets, and then they would have us try these different flavors of Dunkaroos. I'm like not even fucking kidding. And this was like multiple years of this. I didn't just have to do it.
So there, you guys were like survey kids.
We were like, yeah, totally.
Guinea pigs.
And I don't know if that was legal. I don't know how.
You think your parents? Maybe you got a permission slip that your parents signed or something. Like,
I
to
feel
participate.
Like, that's so weird.
That is weird. You know what's funny is I was thinking about that. And probably not. This is super fucking random. But do you remember the boy band that Omarion was a part of before he went solo?
No.
I don't remember what it was called, but he was in a boy band before, and it was like him and like 4 or 5 guys. They performed at Roosevelt when I went there. And I'm over here like, we're having Omarion's boy band perform. Fast forward to now, we're like cutting like art programs and school supplies. Like, what is happening to MPS?
Yeah,
like we went from having Dunkaroo conferences and R&B concerts.
Dude, they were probably putting like magnesium in these Dunkaroos and testing it out.
That's why all the MPS kids, like we all had our like our growth stunt.
Dude,
we would go. We'd like our high school team. We'd like go play like Brookfield East, and all their guys are like, all these white guys are like 6'3". I'm like, dude, what is happening?
They all had cold lunch. That's why, dude. They were steady on that cold lunch.
Yeah, their whole life.
Yes, yeah, dude. That's what it was, man.
Our MPS prison meals just weren't cutting it. It
wasn't,
the nutrition.
Dude. No, it wasn't, dude. God bless those lunch ladies, though. They were doing the Lord's work. Like 300 kids. They're just like whipping up 1 billion chicken nuggets, dude.
And that's why, like, sometimes I put shit in perspective. Like, I'm making dinner for my 2 kids, and I'm like dude, these are my 2 kids. Whatever. Those poor ladies, these are 400 kids that aren't there.
And we're roasting them as we're coming through the line. And like,
Bishop, give me an extra nugget right
now. Literally, dude. Bless them, dude. Yes. Lord's work. Lord's work. And then they cleaned all that shit up before we were even done. And they were out of their ghost town, like, bless them.
Now I have another one that, this is question number 5. And now this is going to be, you can interpret it better show, better overall, better game. It's up to you. But we're gonna go Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I'm a Pokemon stan for sure. So I want to be delicate with my answer because there's obviously like a period of where I like played Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah.
I played the PS1 game, which
Yeah.
was really fucking hard.
Forbidden Memories.
Really difficult.
Yeah.
It was a really hard. It was like I remember going through this corridor. It was like right after one arc in the game that was just it was so hard. But Yu-Gi-Oh definitely exists in a really rich area of pop culture. But Pokemon, I think like The Simpsons, timeless.
Yeah.
Span generations, has continued to stay incredibly relevant. Like Pokemon Legends 2 coming out soon.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Like
Yeah.
I love Pokemon.
I was talking to my buddy the other day. We were talking about just like questions and stuff I was getting together for the pod, and I told him I think that in the last 25 years, Pokemon should be ranked top 5 most influential thing in pop culture, and like it's got to be top 5 because I can't think of one brand, one show that has had more like cross platform, cross media success with cards, toys, video games, clothing. They've done
I got a Pokemon
so many
fossil watch.
That's
on.
exactly
Like
that's what I'm saying. Like collabs with Levi, collabs with Puma, collabs with everybody.
like everything.
Like, their market for cards are skyrocketed. You got, millions of dollars in cards being exchanged daily. Like, it's crazy. I think now I've loved Pokemon my whole life. I just learned how to play the card game this last year.
It's fun.
Way easier than what I always thought it was, which is nice. But man, Yu-Gi-Oh for me was so like influential with my friend group and just like playing, and like I remember it got to the point where we were playing for money in middle school.
Yeah,
like,
for
I
sure.
loved it. But I'd probably agree Pokemon's just so much. Again, I have Pokemon tattoos. I think Pokemon is just a little bit more it just engulfed my life way more. Like,
and it's still relevant.
Yep,
I do think Yu-Gi-Oh is a better card game, though.
Yeah,
like hands down. I
now
think
it's too much. Now it's
I don't even know what the state of it is, but it's probably like Magic, where it's like there are new metas and like all this.
nonstop.
Yeah,
Yep.
But
yeah.
I think it's a better card game
Yeah,
for sure. Like
definitely.
The mechanics are cooler.
What do you guys think about his answers? That was this week's This or That 90s edition. You pretty much went the way I expected for the most part.
Did you give me all easy ones? Was there like one hard one where you're like, I don't know if you can?
No, This or That's usually I usually go real. It depends on what the categories are. 90s, I'm always just interested to see what people say. But most people, once I figure out what they'll answer for one, I kind of know the rest of them. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you pick for the who it wins and how you explain them, because we did some interesting matchups for that. So now what we're going to do, you guys, is last week everybody loved watching Timmy, Cosmic Code, and I do our candy review impromptu. And so I want to kind of incorporate some kind of game or some kind of fun extra thing with all of these. And so we're going to be playing a little game. Some of you may know, some of you might not know. We're playing Jumanji, you guys. This is the original board game from the movie. If you've never seen the movie, I literally don't know what you're doing with your life. R.I.P. Robin Williams, possibly one of the goatiest goats of all acting time.
Well said.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're gonna set this table up here.
Player be warned, once you start this game, you must finish it. It's gonna be easy, dude. We're gonna ruin this jungle.
Yeah, we're gonna tear this biatch up. So
we're like the humans in Avatar.
There's mine.
But we're gonna
jungle
win.
Space. All players are trapped in the jungle. They almost roll an hourglass or matching symbol to rescue each other. All right. We're gonna start Jumanji, and we're gonna keep going with some Goosey and Ghoul talks. All right, you can go first. I'm gonna put these bad boys down.
All right.
That's a 3, baby. Okay.
After you.
We're playing double dice, so in theory, it should go relatively smooth-ish, I think. So 7. Being in photography, have you ever been to any, like, shot any pictures at, like, creepy old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I'm right now.
What?
Have you ever been? That sounds really. Pause. Have you ever put yourself in any like? Have you ever gone to shoot any like abandoned places or like abandoned warehouses and found your place? Just like you're in a situation where you're feeling a little creepy, you think you hear something. We always talk about like ghosts and ghouls and like haunted stories, and I always like hearing like our guests like experience if you've ever had a paranormal, alien, anything like that happen, specifically tied in with your field and what you do.
Not with my field. There
Okay.
is this if you have a good mentor in photography, I think that there's this unwritten rule in photography that mentors will give you. I think if you have a good mentor, if you find someone who's willing to give you this advice, but people have heard it everywhere. It's that in photography you shoot first and you answer questions later, or you ask for forgiveness later. I never liked the ask for forgiveness. I was like, I'll answer their questions of why I'm doing it. So
Yeah.
you shoot first, answer questions later. Like you always go for the shot. I haven't done anything super paranormal, but I've had like paranormal experiences in my life. I don't think any related to photography. I feel like I black out when I shoot. I don't think I'm like,
That's fair. You're
I
in
don't think,
mode. Yeah.
I don't think I'm like well enough to be like, oh shit, was that a ghost? I'd be like, fuck
I
that
got time for
ghost.
that.
Yeah, like whatever, man. Find your, I hope you make it to the
Yeah.
afterlife or whatever. But yeah, I feel like maybe I was possibly abducted by aliens.
Oh shit.
Is that crazy to say?
No.
But yeah, I'll give you the quick story
Yes.
if we have time for it.
Yeah. Yes, I want to hear the story, please.
So I was in Palestine in 2012. I went with my sister and her like newish husband. They had just recently gotten married, and they got married there. My sister was here with him for a little while. Then they were like moving back. So I just like went with them, so they had an extra set of hands. And we were staying at their new place, and everyone's like fasting for Ramadan. I'm not, but everyone else is, which changes everything. Like people are asleep for longer parts of the day, and then
Yeah.
they're up for later at night
Yeah.
when they can eat. So people are going to bed at like 4 a.m., waking up at like 2 p.m. So then really they're only awake for like 4 hours of their fast. It like really
Yeah.
cuts it down. And when the whole city's doing that, it's really easy to do that.
Mhm.
I'm not doing that, and my sleep schedule is also still like westernized. It's not in this sleep schedule, so I'm up when everyone's asleep and vice versa. So there's this one night, and it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. My sister and her husband are in the living room watching TV, like, but they're getting sleepy because they're gonna go to sleep soon. And I have been asleep for like hours, and I'm in a room just across the hall, like just down the hall, and in the room's pretty blank. There's like a dresser in the corner. The room has the bed has like a really simple bed frame, but above it is a window. Like the bed's like pushed up against the wall, and just above it's a window around like 4 floors high. And out the window, you can see like this vast field, this huge open field of like plains and like minor mountains, like nothing crazy, like rolling hills, I guess, like antennas and shit like that. But it's high up, so you can kind of see like the horizon of the sky for context. I'm sleeping, and I wake up to this like giant blue light around me, and I'm floating, and my mouth was open farther than I ever believed it could open, and I was screaming. Like I was involuntarily screaming as loud as I possibly could. And before I knew it, it ended, and I dropped to the bed, and I immediately got up and turned and looked out the window, and there was this blue light moving faster than anything I'd ever seen, not in any direction, but straight forward from how high up the window was into it just like disappeared into nothingness.
Oh my god.
I remember this so vividly. And I ran out the room, and I was like, "Did you guys just hear me?" And they were like, "What?" And I was like, I was literally just screaming at the top of my lungs, and they were like, "No, we didn't hear anything." And I knew in that moment there was like nothing more to be said. I was like, I'm not gonna tell them, like they're not gonna fucking believe me. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna seem fucking crazy.
Yeah.
and it's been over 10 years, and I remember how it felt. I
Yeah.
remember exactly what the room looked like, what the skyline looked like in the night with this blue light like moving. It like moved so straight,
Yeah.
like
And you weren't like a kid. You know what I
no,
mean? Like
no, I
your
was
20s.
yeah,
Like you,
yeah,
it's not
literally.
like
Like I was 19 or 20. Yeah. It was so weird.
that is insane. That's insane.
I remember it like it happened. You know what I mean? But like I don't talk about it often. This is the first time I'm definitely doing it on a podcast, but like I don't talk about it often because like I'm never in like the right company to speak about
Right.
some shit like that.
Well,
But
and so many people are just gonna be like, yeah, okay, or just
or
like,
like you were lucid dreaming, or like you had maybe I had sleep paralysis for sure, but I definitely remember waking
right,
up and I remember seeing this
right.
thing like, and I've had sleep. I feel like I've had sleep paralysis before. I don't know, but
Well,
that's
and the mind's such a strong, crazy thing too for what it can and can't process and bridge to like what is actually happening and what isn't. Yeah, that's crazy. I've definitely never had anything like that. I have had multiple people share stories of similar, um, just like weird like encounters. But that's super intense.
yeah,
What
for
did
sure.
from the people that you have like talked to about it?
Just
What have they said?
nonsense. It's
Yeah,
just nonsense,
yeah,
And I hate that like so much of like my experience has been like seen on YouTube and in forums and even in alien movies, and it's like fuck, like it just seems the evidence points to the fact that I've consumed all this media and then reprocessed it in my sleep paralysis, whatever. And
yeah.
for sure, totally
Possibility.
possible,
Totally
totally
possible.
realistic. Like
Yes.
would totally understand if
Yep.
that is the reality of the situation, but I don't know. I've never had an experience like that before or after.
Have
So
you ever had, whether it be from meditation or drug induced, have you ever had a like genuine out of body experience?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for
Would
sure.
you say it was similar to that or just genuinely different?
No, it was different.
Yeah.
Like, and I've like been in the belly of the beast, if you
Yeah.
if you will,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
I've like had my time for sure. But this felt so. I think the thing that's striking about it is how vivid the memory lives in my mind.
Yeah.
And there are only other memories that like memories that trigger like with smell or food or like sense of place that feel as extreme as that one.
Yeah.
But I think it was so extreme because it was such like a traumatic, I don't want to say like magical or spiritual, but I was in a realm of reality, or like things were happening that were beyond my comprehension of like
Right.
physics and science and
Yeah.
gravity and shit like that. So like I
Hmm.
knew it was such a striking
Yeah.
experience.
That actually kind of makes me segue into this part I had about a little ghosty ghoul weird situation. I either need to roll a 5 or an 8 to get out. Oh, I guess there's a 5 to get out of here. Um, so now
We're
it's your turn.
oh
I was
shit.
stuck, but now I go on the next turn. Um, Now you're stuck. Um, so have you heard about the guy in? I want to say he was in somewhere in California with the apartment complex and the Chinese food menus, and it like caused him to do this experiment, and now he's like losing his mind and he thinks he's like living in the Matrix. So I believe that sometimes in life there's just glitches, weird situations, whatever you want to call it. Um, but this guy moved into this apartment complex, and he had been there for a
I
while.
feel like I did
Did
hear
you hear
about.
about
I
this?
think
He's
so.
he's been there for a while, and he always saw people there. But he was super busy. He didn't make like friends or anything, but he always saw other tenants there. And then he like kind of noticed one day that like he hadn't really like seen anybody in a couple days. He didn't like think anything of it. He leaves for work and he comes back like 3 days later because he like travels. And there's all these like Chinese food menus like in everybody's store. You know, like they came through and they put them in everybody's store. And he's there and he leaves for work. He comes back that night and all of them on his floor are still in everybody's door. And he was like, well, that's kind of fucking weird. Well, he leaves in the morning for work again for the weekend. He comes back like late Sunday and all the fucking menus are still in everybody's door. And he was like, nobody has left their house for 3 days to where the menus have been taken in. Like this doesn't make sense. And then he started thinking like, well, fuck, I haven't seen anybody in our building for like 2 weeks now. So then he starts like kind of getting creeped out, and he's like knocking on neighbors' doors, like neighbors that he's at least like talked to in passing, and there's no answer. And he's like, okay, well, that's fucking weird. So he goes about like a couple days goes by, and he's like trying to calling management just to ask, like, hey, did people move out? Is there like asbestos or something? Like, should I not be here? Like, did I not get a letter? And nobody gets back to him. Super weird. So then all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, what is going on? Like, everybody's cars have to be gone. He does like offsite parking because parking in the structure is like super expensive. So he goes in the building parking, and everybody's car's still there, and they're like covered in dust. They're like dusty. And he's like, okay, this is really fucking weird. So he goes through the building knocking on everybody's door, and nobody's there in this whole building. It's like over 150 units. So he finds a fire alarm, and he pulls the fire alarm just to see if people are going to come out or not. Nobody comes out, and the alarm just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And the fire department comes, and they're like, hey, like, fire alarm got pulled. And he's like, well, I pulled it because I've been trying to get a hold of management or people, and the building's been empty. Police show up, and they look in it. Apparently the building like foreclosed like 2 months prior, and everybody had been moved out already. And he like missed like a move out date or something. And supposedly nobody's been living in his building for like months. And he swears he had been seeing tenants and stuff, and he was like, how could my key card be working if nobody's living here? I've been paying rent. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, dude, we're telling you what's on record right now. Like, this building's been foreclosed for 2 months. Like, this building has been listed as completely evacuated and closed for 2 months. Like, nobody's supposed to be living in here.
Why would the menus get dropped
And
off?
that's what he said. He was like, then who got in to put these menus there? And he was like, I don't know what to tell you, but I don't even know how you've been getting access to the building. And then he was like, but why are there cars in the basement? And they're like, we don't know what to tell you, but this building we're showing you right here on record, it's been empty for 2 months.
What the fuck?
And he's like losing his fucking mind now because he never saw anybody move out. He has nothing. They can't even find the company he was renting from. Like,
what?
Gone. And he's like losing his fucking mind. And I like started falling in this wormhole of like all these videos he's posting on his social media, on his like Instagram and TikTok.
This is like really recent?
Yeah, I would say this happened probably like 6 months ago.
Whoa.
It was like around
dude.
Thanksgiving, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, super crazy. And that, like, stuff like that to me is like, how is that possible? Is that guy, because he seems completely fine, but is he somehow batshit crazy? Is he bipolar? Or did something somehow happen? There's like a theory that, people are saying that, other universes, Mandela effect, like all this stuff, but like he even took a lie detector test, and it shows he wasn't lying. He feels that in his world, he was seeing other tenants. He was living with other people in this building for the last 2 months. Yep.
That's crazy.
Insane.
I believe him.
I believe him,
honestly.
How could he... How could he... Yeah, he's back in front of you now. I'm so sorry. And you're double stuck.
Fuck. All right, let's see. I got to get an 8, huh? Oh, shit. Oh, that's a 9. Fuck.
I was going to say, did you just roll
I
it?
literally can't. I can't. Add.
Oh, God, it's the hunter. A hunter from the darkest wild makes you feel just like a child. All right, now you have to roll that until you get a saber. All right, ready?
Ready.
Oh, first try again.
Dude.
Yes,
dude. Saved you from that MFer. I believe in like the supernatural. I was recently watching a video on YouTube, which is like the best way to devalue your opinion.
Two die was too much.
Yeah, we're like rolling too high. we're just blasting. But this physicist was explaining how the universe is like our sun. We see all these graphs of our solar system where it's like the sun is just there and then we're all, but in reality the sun is like moving.
Yeah.
It's like it's like moving with the expanse of the universe in a direction.
Right.
So in reality the sun is like moving,
Yeah.
and we're like
twisting.
and we're trailing behind it.
Yes.
And I was like,
because it's pulling us with it because of gravitational force.
I was like, that seems a lot like something a ship would do.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are we going?
We're just along for the ride.
Yeah,
baby.
man. I was like, that's really interesting. Like, if we could zoom out so much that we could kind of see these things as like vehicles or whatever, like where are we going?
Yeah.
And why? Like, that blew my mind. It like reframed how I thought about our position in the solar system.
Well, and it's insane to think about too, because it's like, wait, if all of us are just headed in one direction and we're in this vast space,
Yes,
billions and billions
Yes.
of planets and stars and possibilities, and that's where it's like for people to be like ignorant to like, bro, you don't believe in this? Are you kidding me? There's all of this in the world. Like we are a tiny atom in
totally.
the world. It's crazy. That's why I like when people tell me they don't believe in aliens. I'm like, what?
Like, why?
Come
You
on,
know, like,
come
why?
on, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know. I feel you on that. I just think people are scared to believe in stuff that they have to figure out on their own.
Yeah.
That's such a scary thing
Yes.
for people. Like,
Yeah.
even people who don't like. I love meeting people who are like, I don't know how to play video games, and you could see like when you put a controller in their hand, and like they're trying to figure out that XY axis with the two joysticks, and like it's so foreign to them, but you can see the gears churning in their head where they're like, I could probably get good at
I can
this.
do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
know, and like it's like just getting to that point with
Yeah.
people's psyche about things.
Yes.
You know, like
Last week I said with Timmy, I said the one reason why I think he's so good at what he does is because he never has the question or the thought, I don't think I can do that. It's more of, okay, I'll take it on and we'll figure it out as we go, because it's that blockade of like other people's projection of they can't gets put onto other people of, well, then I can't. When in reality, it's like, no, you think you can't, therefore you project that, but don't put that on me because I can do anything.
Well, it's like if I can't, no one else should be able to either, right?
Right.
I'm the main character of
Yeah.
this experience, so to
Right.
speak.
Yeah.
And like, just being stuck in that routine of like, well, these people taught me that, and now I believe it. And meeting people who don't believe it almost devalues
Yeah.
my life's work of belief, right? And
I'll be honest, I think the religious people are the people that confuse me the most when they tell me they don't believe in aliens. Because I'm like, hold on. This man
Burning
walked
bush.
on water. Okay. This man talked to
God.
angels.
Yeah.
Angels and shit. But you're telling me there's not.
Literally got rezzed.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
Go
like,
crazy.
Sure. Like,
Go crazy.
for sure. Because it's like, I think we're talking about the same thing.
That-
you know what
We
I
might
think?
actually be talking about the same people.
Yeah, totally. That's funny.
Is this you? I think it's you.
Is it me? My
Yep.
bad.
Yep. No, you're
That's
good.
funny.
We're already there. We got to
You
run
won,
it back.
dude. Yeah.
That was too quick.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
do it again with one die.
All right, I'm down.
And instead of 5 or 8, we'll just do 8. Or just do 5.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Rolling
Just
8 on this
rolling
one
8.
die.
Be rolling a while.
We're running it back. That was too quick. That doesn't seem right. Oh, where am I going? Obviously we've talked about this on episodes in the past, but like some of the Mandela effects for me are just so strong that it makes me almost feel like I'm crazy.
Like the Berenstein Bears one.
Yes.
Like I'm 31.
Yeah.
As a 90s kid, like we literally grew up with those books. So
Yeah.
it's like really hard for me to believe that the I or the E wasn't in there.
Right.
Because like it was there.
Yeah.
Right? Like that.
Yeah.
Like it was there.
Or like the obviously like the Shaq movie, the Genie movie with Sinbad, Kazam and
Shazam.
and Kazam, and
He was a fucking genie.
Yeah, and they're saying he wasn't.
No, like that movie. I've seen the preview for that movie, watching other VHSs. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I know I have. Like
Yeah.
I know I have. Like
Yeah.
that one is a classic, though. I feel like that actually serves like a Mandela effect would serve a good purpose. So like, no, we lived in a different timeline before.
Yeah.
But then does that like cure or solve our like need for our aliens? Us? Are we studying ourselves?
There's so many different theories around that too, because like there's a deep theory I've read multiple times that 2012, the world was supposed to end, and like there was like an accident with like a black hole like experiment that like literally altered our timeline and completely shifted like the direction of where we were going. And that's why there's so many weird like mirrored things that like we think like Jif and Jiffy, like peanut butter. Which is it?
It was Jiffy.
Apparently it wasn't. Apparently it's always been Jif.
Mm.
How do you spell Skechers?
With a T for sure.
Yeah, apparently every way that I always thought it was spelled, wrong.
Wait, was it without a T?
Yeah, I think it's
Is it without a T?
yes. I think it's like S or it's like SK or SC, like those vary like there's and then like Curious George, does he have a tail? Doesn't he have a tail? Um
Dude, there's so many. What the
there's
heck?
there's so many things. Like people thought that the whole thing that Nelson Mandela got killed in prison. Dude, he didn't. He got out of prison. He died in
But
bed.
I feel like I remember, like,
learning about that in school.
yeah, like actually, that's so weird.
There's so many different things that are like very, very strange to where it makes you genuinely question.
If we were humans studying other humans, it must be humans from so far into the future. Because like us now, we would love to study how they built the pyramids. Like,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to deny ourselves that pleasure. So like, what is it about how far into the future they are and about this timeline that is so interesting, unless it was like a world-ending calamity?
There's also theories that people from far in the future are so fucked that they're trying to change little things in the past to make their present better. But because it's time, you can't change anything too drastic without cataclysmic, events happening. So
Whoa.
how much little tinkering can we do to
Like engineering?
yes,
Whoa.
before we fully fuck the butterfly effect up, kind of thing.
That's probably exactly what's happening, unfortunately.
Because
that
why
sounds
is it
human as fuck.
and they find new things all the time.
That sounds human as shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like some shit we would
fuck
absolutely
with
do.
ourselves.
Yeah. Like they'll be fucking fine. That Trump era presidency, they're so fucking busy anyways. Like, you know what I mean? Like they would be they'll clog the Suez Canal. Keep them thinking for a while, while we fuck with shit. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
There's
crazy.
so much weird stuff. So much weird stuff. I was just diving into that flight from Malaysia that disappeared a couple years ago with all those people and still never found or anything.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like those new videos surfaced of like thermal images where like 3 little pods show up next to the airplane, start spinning around it, and then everything goes off radar. Gone. 3 spheres, like pill spheres, circle around it like this. The plane's going this way, the spheres are going this way. Somehow, zoop, 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 you can see them on thermal, and then all of a sudden there's like a flash and everything's gone.
What the fuck, dude?
Where did they take them?
What the fuck?
Because at the end of the day, if that plane crashes, you're finding black box debris, especially 3, 4, 5, 6 years later.
Black box technology is like really advanced now too. It's like militaristically advanced.
Yes, they're pulling them out of oceans thousands of miles deep.
Yeah,
they could have found this, but it's gone. Everything. They haven't found one bolt from that airplane.
That is so wild.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, kind of spooky. I mean, in Christopher Columbus's diary or journal, it said that during the voyage that Christopher Columbus was on, he said that there were 3 giant blue spheres that surrounded their ship at one point, and that it like they just didn't understand. Like and so it was a supernatural experience, but like they didn't let it interfere with their mission. Blah blah blah. It's like, what the fuck?
Especially then, they probably thought it was gods.
Yeah,
literally,
like literally, dude. But it probably gave them like the self, like we're on the right path.
We're on the path.
Yeah, we're doing the right thing.
Let's go take that land.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah, fucking scumbags.
But yeah, like that was. I feel like I've never considered that it was humans who are so fucked, so far into the future that they are like engineering our past, tinkering with our past.
Yeah.
But it sounds, of all the conspiracy theories, it sounds so realistic.
Yeah.
Like so human, something we would absolutely do. Like we farm animals, of course we would fuck with ourselves like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like of course. So.
Yep.
Damn, we're so fucked
We're
right
so
now,
fucked.
dude. Nice.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
tarantulas.
Let's see.
All right, a racket. All right, ready?
Ready.
Bro,
That's 3
Jumanji
for 3.
Masters.
3
What
for
can I
3.
say?
That's awesome.
What can I say? All right.
I gotta get the. Is there a door on
Open
here?
door.
Yep.
All right. Oh wait, why am I
Ready,
rolling the dice?
ready, dude. Yep. Uh-oh. Oh shit.
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Yes.
Ah!
Yes, dude. Oh, our luck ran out there. That was scary.
That was scary.
Yeah.
Do I have to get one more card?
No, I don't think so.
Is that it?
That's
Is that
Jumanji.
Jumanji!
Yeah, dude. You crushed me this.
It was pretty quick. Do you want to do one more while we're playing
Yeah.
Who Would Win?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay,
That sounds fun.
cool. Well, before we start game number 3 of Jumanji, we're going to lean into our next segment, which is Who Would Win? If you haven't checked out the podcast, the Who Would Win show, it's by James Gaffsey and Ray's Sikanis, and I've been listening to it and tuning in for a couple years now. It is hilarious. It is phenomenal, and it's where I got the inspiration for this segment. All of the matchups that I'm doing this week are based off of some of my favorite episodes from their podcast. So if you haven't, check them out on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen. You can find them there. And let them know you want to see Benny from SayWord. Shoot them a message. Let them know you want to see me as a judge on their show. I've been trying, and we're going to make it happen, you guys. So we'll start over. We'll get our pieces back, and we're going to start with this or that right off the bat. Or sorry, that's a lie. Who would win? We already did this or that. So question number 1, Godzilla versus the Megazord.
Oh, man.
Have you seen any of the new Godzilla movies?
I did. I haven't seen -1 yet, but I did
Okay.
see Godzilla and then the Godzilla versus Kong. So,
Okay.
like, I'm a little... See, the Megazord has so many... I think, yeah, but it's piloted by 5 kids. So...
Sucks.
Whereas Godzilla...
Teenage drivers.
Yes, exactly, right? Whereas Godzilla is like a mother connected to the planet in a way that we aren't. It has different intuitions, is a different huntress.
Yeah.
Stronger, has some abilities that may still have yet to be seen. So I do think if I really had to put my bottom dollar on it, Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'm a vegan animal lover, so I'm gonna go naturally gravitate towards the thing that belongs in the planet, probably long before we got here.
Yeah.
Very strong, very smart. That fucking laser beam, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a mom. Moms have different, or historically has been categorized as a parent, right? And I think like parental hunter instincts. We in the 21st century or 22nd, wherever fucking
wherever we are,
we are very out of tune of that like barbaric hunter instinct. But I think Godzilla still has it. So I choose Godzilla, I think, like undoubtedly. I'm sure she would just fucking like rocket comes at her, boom, you know what I mean? Just knock it out like a baseball.
Yeah, catches the sword.
Yeah.
Like snaps it in half.
Literally.
So Godzilla it is. Question number 2 is one of my favorite episodes. It's a classic matchup. We got Luke Skywalker versus Harry Potter.
Can I tell you a Harry Potter related knock knock joke?
Yeah.
Okay. Knock knock.
I'm already laughing. Who's there?
Cedric
who?
My boy! That's my son! I thought of that today, actually. They're pretty good, right? I think which Harry?
So by the rules of the Who Would Win, it would be the peak version. So peak Potter, peak Luke. So you'd probably be talking like older Luke then. But it depends on whoever you want to be represented. I would say it's probably like Return of the Jedi and Year 7.
Okay.
Probably be...
I think to be more analytical as like an enjoyer of both
worlds.
both worlds.
Yeah.
I think it would be Harry Potter.
Okay.
I think I think Harry Potter's magical prowess is probably as strong or stronger than Luke's ability to use the Force against Harry. I think maybe I think the only thing that would deter Harry in that actual fight is his ability to have to channel his attacks through his wand.
Yeah.
Whereas Luke has 2 weapons. He can use the Force outside of his lightsaber and use his lightsaber. So,
do you think Harry wins if he gets disarmed, though? Like, if Luke does like he does with people's sabers or weapons, if he just and whips the wand away?
I don't know, because during that Cedric Diggory moment, Harry, I don't know that he does this with his wands, but he can like flick shit to him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he can. I can't say for certain that he can do that with a disarmed wand, but I feel like wizards who are can do that with their wands.
Yeah.
I don't know for certain.
Draw it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think if that's the case, I think Harry still has a chance to win. But if that isn't the case, it's heavily tipped in Luke Skywalker's favor.
Okay. But you say Harry?
I think I land on Harry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peak Harry Potter.
Harry Potter it is.
He's very strong.
Now, number 3 is an interesting matchup. And when they first announced it and I went to watch the episode, I was pretty intrigued. This is Scott Pilgrim versus the Juggernaut.
I love Scott Pilgrim. And I think at his peak, Scott Pilgrim is probably leagues stronger than the Juggernaut. I think the Juggernaut is probably only as strong as when Scott fights the twins.
Okay.
But I think when Scott Pilgrim fights Gideon, he's like literal, like video game, comic book, like almost One Punch Man level strong.
Yeah.
He's so strong.
Yeah, we're talking like Goku.
Yes, he's so strong.
Yeah.
Whereas the Juggernaut is like his power level is capped.
Yeah.
And he's defeated often, you know what I mean? So like I think it's Scott Pilgrim undoubtedly.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Like what are your answers? I would love to hear
so far, like out of the 3
out of those 3, yeah.
I definitely have Godzilla over Megazord because like you said, the instinct, there's no delay. You ain't got 5 people moving body parts. I think Godzilla rips it to shreds in seconds. Honestly.
Yeah.
Skywalker versus Potter, I'll be honest, I went Skywalker.
For sure.
Because
respect.
Because of what you actually said, but what makes it win for me is he's got 2 weapons. To me, Harry without his wand, I don't know. And now this, again, I haven't read all the books. I don't know what level of spells Harry can do without a wand when it comes to like battling and like dueling, what he can do without one. I feel like if Luke and Harry disarmed each other, Luke's got it, he'll choke him out. You know what I mean? Or, not that he would because he's a Jedi, but he could easily throw him. That is one of his abilities. He could throw him, he could toss him, whatever. So I'd probably go Luke. 3, Scott Pilgrim versus Juggernaut. I think Scott could do enough to at least stop him. Maybe not beat him per se, but at least to like immobilize him and like put him down.
Juggernaut is incredibly fucking strong, for sure. Yeah, like for sure. Yeah, but yeah, maybe I'm just a Scott Pilgrim fan.
I also think too it's supposed to be like in a neutral ground, but like if they were in like a Scott Pilgrim world, I feel like Scott would do something like he's gonna karate chop his helmet and it'll crack.
Right.
Like that's something I would see in a Scott Pilgrim book. Now if it's like Marvel, I think it's gonna be a little bit more drawn out, but I think that like Scott puts him in the ground or like sends him flying and he gets stuck in like the water or something, like it's something that happens like that. But okay,
that's cool.
So now question number 4 is a kind of a Marvel versus DC typical cross battle. We got Tony Stark Iron Man versus Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Oh, not the classic like Tony Stark rich guy versus rich guy. It's Green Lantern.
Okay.
It's like absolutely Green Lantern, like unequivocally. Like Green Lantern can literally summon things by thinking of them.
Yeah.
He could hit Tony Stark while he's flying around with a fucking green train if he wanted to, like, or 100 green missiles. Like I think it's like Green Lantern by a mile.
Yeah.
But yeah, like undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Tony's but a man, you know what I mean?
True.
Like Green Lantern's he can fly. Like I said, he can like basically create shit.
Yeah.
I think it's Green Lantern.
Okay. Hell yeah. Now 5 is probably one of my favorite episodes from the Who Would Win show. That please, if you haven't, at least do me the favor and go listen to this episode. This matchup was Twilight Sparkle from My Little Pony versus Lobo from DC.
You know what? I think this is actually how I first stumbled upon the Who Would Win podcast,
Okay.
actually, because
Yeah.
I've seen this fight before, and I think if I remember correctly, the twins.
Spoiler.
Sorry. Oh shit! You gotta cut that out. You gotta cut that. But I don't know enough about either character to make a judgment.
Okay.
If I'm being honest,
That's
with you.
fair.
I
Yeah.
have zero My Little Pony knowledge to be able to. But
I
I'm
would say
assuming
the
it's.
average person I ask says that same. I don't expect you.
I'm
you
assuming
said
it's
you
the
did,
horse.
If you were like, oh, dude, Twilight Sparkle, and rattled off all these facts, I would be almost like feel like you'd be on a watch list of some kind. Like, you know what I mean?
I gotta think it's because like just like seeing like the glimpses of what that world is like.
Yeah.
That horse could probably fly.
Yeah.
It's probably like invincible to some degree.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
has some like otherworldly magic to it or
Whenever
whatever.
they do matchups like this, I love when one of the hosts is always like, "When's the last time you saw Twilight Sparkle bleed?"
Yeah, like
And I'm
literally.
like, "Oh shit!"
You know, like literally
Great
though.
point.
Like yeah. So
They did an episode that was Deathstroke versus the Care Bears, and they had one of the most controversial endings I've ever heard in any of their shows,
whoa.
and it was so funny.
I want to believe that Deathstroke would like access all of his mercenary bounty hunter and get the job done
and do horrible things
Yeah.
to those bears.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine him putting like grenades in them.
Yeah,
like,
literally. Because Deathstroke is like, he's not Deadpool. He's like, I'm gonna get this job done.
So number 6 is going to be another Power Ranger involved. Question number 6 is Tommy the Green Ranger versus General Grievous from Star Wars.
General Grievous is a trained soldier who's much like Spike from Cowboy Bebop has been like enhanced.
Yeah.
You know, with like supernatural reflexes, the ability to innately read his opponent. Whereas the Green Ranger is a child.
Yeah.
So I do think it's General Grievous, like without a doubt. Whereas like I think the Green Ranger probably could. Like, does he have access to his Megazord? You know, like then he probably wins. But I don't think he's equipped to fight like a true soldier, swordsman.
Just overwhelms him.
Yes, like absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta put respect on the name, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, if he's out here killing Jedis, he can probably kill a Power Ranger.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's totally fair. Now, number 7 was also, again, these are all some of my favorite episodes, but this was an episode I was excited to watch. This episode was Bugs Bunny versus Mickey Mouse, and this is including all the Bugs Bunny lore and all of the Mickey Mouse lore.
Mickey Mouse. With like Mickey is Fantasia, like Fantasia Mickey, or like the Sorcerer Mickey.
You know what they brought in for point number 3, because they break it down into 3 points in the show. Kingdom Hearts Mickey, baby.
Ooh,
come
King
on,
Mickey,
baby. King Mickey.
King Mickey.
Are you put some respect on my boy?
You can't. Bugs Bunny. There's no way. I think it's like Mickey Mouse. I'm a huge Mickey stan, but like objectively, we're talking about every shade of Mickey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mickey Mouse.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
It's Mickey.
I won't say who wins in the episode, but it was really entertaining. It was really entertaining because the cool thing about watching these full episodes is the guys do such a good job, like doing the research and bringing up examples, and then they bring up counter arguments where someone's like, oh, Mickey Mouse did this, and then in their counter argument they'll be like, okay, yeah, he did that, but that was one time, so that's like a one-off situation. That's not something he's known for.
It's not like a consistent
so that shouldn't
trait.
be included.
Yeah.
So the judge will strike it, but again, it's up to the judge. We're talking now to maybe do like a live one here to where like
really
I'll be the judge. We'll have 2 people represent. We'll have some people from the shop hang out and do it like
that
in
would
front
be
of an audience.
awesome, dude.
So,
that would be so cool.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast doing this.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. It's like I said, it's just big chilling. Now this is another interesting one. This is going to be question number 8. This is another Star Wars one, but we're bringing in a video game character. We got the Mandalorian
Mm.
versus Link.
Oh, okay. The Mandalorian is a great. He's a hunter.
Yeah.
He's another mercenary
Mm-hmm.
trained by some of the best hunters known in that universe,
Yeah.
right? Like some of the best scouters, some of the very, very best uh, pilots, gunsmen,
Yeah.
like everything,
Yeah.
like the best killers,
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Yeah.
Depending on what the bounty
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But Link, I think,
Now again, this would be peak Link versus peak Mando.
and I think I don't know if this is fair to say in terms of like, but I think Link always has fate on his side,
Yeah.
and it's like
Magic, baby.
it's this intangible, like his sword will always strike true. The fate of so much time and history and stuff like depends on Link's shoulders, whereas I think the Mandalorian's true innate instinct is to survive. I think with Link's ability to be a great swordsman, have all these different, his equipment and ability matches the Mandalorian's.
Yeah.
He is also a pilot, but it's Epona. He also shoots, but it's with a bow. He has grenades, but they're bombs. You know what I mean? He has
sword, shield.
He has a boomerang. He has all of the shit that the Mandalorian has, equipment wise.
Yeah.
I
With
think
a magic.
I think he has fate on his side,
Yeah.
dude. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it's Link.
I always like the tech versus magic kind of thing. And that's like the Iron Man versus Green Lantern question to me is really interesting because I always go super deep into it. And I start picturing the fight and I'm like, Green Lantern's ring, like his strength is solely based on his will and like his belief that he can make these things and win. So I start thinking like, okay, what if Iron Man calls in a bunch of the extra suits and they start attacking him? What happens once he starts getting scared or overwhelmed and he doesn't have the concentration to like conjure up the train or the boulder or the protection or whatever? Because that's always what happens in the comics. Like, does he overwhelm him? But then at the same time, I'm like, well, Iron Man can't really fly in space unless he has the right armor. So Green Lantern could just zip to space, or he could, like you said, create a train or whatever. It's just really fun. I like the cross world type of matchups because it can always go one way. That's why it's cool to have two people debate it because it's all about the facts and representation that you're supplying at that time.
Totally.
So,
who would you say about Link and the Mandalorian?
Link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just think,
sure.
like you said, he's the main character of the whole world. He's the savior of that world, that time. I think the sword and the shield, like Master Sword and Shield, just are
the classic
too
combo.
much. Now I know he's got the like Beskar armor or whatever, but I think that he's got enough stuff to, because like this is what I would ask myself. Ganondorf would beat Mandalorian.
He would beat the shit out of the Mandalorian.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
And Link beats Ganondorf, dare I say, every time.
Every time.
Every time. Time and time again.
There are timelines where Link lost.
Yes.
But
yeah.
But that he does usually beat.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah.
That's actually a really good way to do it. It's like, well, would the enemy that the character always beats?
Yeah. Because I think like, okay, all the like monsters and other like bounty hunters that the Mandos fought, I think Link would do fine. He fights monsters and crazy things all the time.
Literally all the time, yeah.
That's one way I use it.
That's like, a great.
The one good selling point I always feel that people bring up is like accomplishments. Like, who is he beaten and who is he beaten? Like his level of opponents versus his level of opponents. He's taken out average Joes. That's like when I was talking about the Powerpuff Girls versus Bizarro. Now, Powerpuff Girls are three girls, 3 versus 1, but Bizarro's fighting Superman, Batman, Green Lantern. He's fighting crazy superheroes and going toe to toe. The Powerpuff Girls are fighting Fuzzy Lumpkins and Mojo Jojo and like germs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like stuff like
sure.
that. So it's like, well, we don't know who they could beat on a big scale because we haven't seen it. But I know Bizarro can go toe to toe with the X, Y, and Z. So it's a cool way to look at it. Like you said, like can their baddest person beat that person and vice versa.
Yeah, the
So
Ganondorf one is
yeah,
like a great.
yeah.
It's like he could definitely crush.
Ganondorf would destroy him.
Yeah, he would crush him. Yeah, yeah, literally. That's how I imagine it too, which is hilarious.
So question number 9: John Wick versus Bane.
Whoa. I think the will of I haven't seen John Wick yet, but I like
Okay,
super
none of
well
them?
versed, super well none of them, and
Okay.
which is I've been told is a travesty because I love the Matrix. I love Keanu Reeves, so like it's definitely something I'm gonna get to. I love animals, so like knowing why the story happens, like I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But the will of that, I'm gonna spoil it because it's been out forever and I haven't seen him, and I even know that this happens. But the will of a man losing his dog, I think trumps everything. Like
Yeah.
I think that
Pet
and
loss.
that alone, would make him outsmart Bane, overwhelm Bane. I don't know that Bane in like Arkham Asylum, he's like giant comic book Bane, you know,
Yeah.
like where he's like pumped with all that green juice or
Yeah.
whatever. That Bane might crush John Wick like a bug.
Okay.
But like Dark Knight Bane,
Yeah.
I think that's like really realistic of John Wick's
Yeah.
realm.
Yeah.
John Wick has only killed other mostly mindless mercenary security guard,
Mm-hmm.
gun for hire men, I'm assuming.
Yeah. A lot of like other like ninjas and samurais and like
For
paid
sure.
assassins
Okay.
and hitmen.
But
and-
I don't know that he's defeated anyone that has dipped their toes into the metaphysical world
Yeah.
like Bane has.
Yeah.
So I think I want to say John Wick, but I think it's Bane. I
Yeah.
think objectively
Bane's
it is
just
Bane.
too much power.
I think he's
Okay.
probably mega strong in comparison.
Now,
Could probably take bullets too.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
he has. Yeah,
Yeah.
to a batarang to the chest. When he's
Yeah.
juiced up on Venom, he doesn't even really feel much. You mentioned The Matrix, another episode they did that was really good. They did Neo, and when I heard Neo, I'm like, who are they going to have fight Neo? Who's going to go against Neo? Freddy Krueger. And I questioned it at first until I realized Neo would technically be in the way that they planned it is, I mean, he's in this dream world. He's plugged in. So he's kind of sleeping. So Freddy Krueger would be able to move in that world like he would freely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. But I mean, peak Neo would be able to manipulate that world
Correct.
as well as Freddy Krueger, right?
Correct.
Like so.
Yes, in theory. Yes. So
Wow.
it was that was a good episode too.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, because right away I'm like, okay, obviously Neo, but the guy brought up some good points halfway through the episode. I was like, is Freddy Krueger gonna win this
Yeah,
shit?
that sounds like that's a really good matchup.
Yeah.
It's like a really good matchup.
That was a good one. So for the last question, we're taking it back to Star Wars. We got a Star Wars Marvel matchup. We got peak Darth Vader versus peak Venom. This is from one of their more recent episodes.
I love Spider-Man. I'm a huge like Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
I think I like Star Wars a lot too. Like maybe not so much of all of the new stuff, and mostly because of like time commitments and not keeping up. But
yeah,
I think if the only way, because we're talking about Venom and not the man Eddie Brock. Like during this fight, he is just Venom.
I would say.
Or at the start of the fight, does he change from Eddie Brock into Venom?
It's tough to say because I would say you can't really have one without the other.
It is like a Folie à Deux, like Madness Takes Two type situation. Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things to where like if I were to have Batman Beyond, having Bruce Wayne in his ear would be a given.
Yeah.
Iron Man having Jarvis.
Yeah,
kind of the same concept.
I think Eddie Brock is enough of a sociopath post Venom, post like Venom thing where I think he would die like almost like gut style, but like he would literally like begin to die just to try to get the kill. Like he would put himself in harm's way to try to overwhelm Darth Vader. And I don't know that the Force would work on something like Venom.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think Venom could like remanipulate himself and like shrink down or get really big and like be this symbiote, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lightsaber in the Force is equipped to handle a disease or you know, a venom like that.
Yeah.
So
like a fluid like that.
Yeah, I do think it's Venom.
I thought too, Venom. One thing that I always think about his character is for how big he is. He's so fast. And Darth Vader is not fast.
He's not fast.
Now again, he's got the Force, he's got the lightsaber, and now I know like high heat is like really bad for like symbiotes, you know, like a weakness against Venom and stuff, but I don't know, I just feel like Vader would be just way too slow.
I think if it was like Smash Bros, like flat map, no, you know, and no items, just like arena style fight, Darth Vader would be instantly consumed.
I think he overwhelms them just top to bottom. So okay,
those are really fun.
That was this week's Who Would Win. Again, brought to you by some of my favorite episodes of the Who Would Win podcast. Make sure you go check them out. Let them know you want to see Benny T from SayWord on one of their episodes. Let me know what you guys think about Sammer's answers. That my answers, were they yay? Were they nay?
Yeah, roast me.
Roast them, praise them. Let us know what matchups you want to see next week. Feel free to drop a comment or DM any of your suggestions. The Rhino from James and the Giant Peach used to scare me as a kid.
Hell yeah, man.
The Rhino.
It's so funny looking back at movies like that, because it never looked like they were on like a set or anything. As a kid,
correct.
It looked like they built a world, you know, and like watching it as an adult, it's like, oh, this was like a clearly a set.
Classic Tim Burton set.
Yeah.
All right. A tiny bite can make you itch, make you sneeze, and make you twitch. We need a racket, baby. Ready?
A racket. Go. That is a saber. It's a raft. That's a dice. That's a door. That's a thing. That's a thing.
There we go. Oh, I don't know, dude. I think we missed it. I'll be honest. I think we missed it.
We got one.
We got one.
We got one. We got dude.
Oh, now it's your turn. 3.
When you see it, you will shake. It's big and green and rhymes with lake. Punch it, dude. Uh-oh.
What do we need? Saber?
Saber.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Oh, no. Oh, we're out. That's 2, man.
I need to roll with my right hand. I don't know why I'm doing it with my left.
That's so funny. It's quicksand. Don't stop the game, you realize, or one of you may vaporize.
Oh,
what the
So
fuck?
We're vaporizing.
What the fuck?
So I need to die? Okay.
Die.
First roll.
All right.
Oh, wait. But now you need another card.
Need another card. Oh, my God. No. What happens? What happens now?
It gets added and then we have to keep going.
We have to just keep going? Yeah. No, dude. What? Hush now. Just listen. No complaints. No more gripes. The power belongs to the beast with stripes.
So we're going to get trampled? Oh,
we're out, dude.
We're out.
Holy shit.
That got me a little nervous.
Dude, cards started stacking up. Uh-oh.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
We're going to... Oh, we ate it.
I'm the worst roller.
That's 4, dude. This is actually starting to look a little more scary than I expected down here.
I'm getting not doing great on the rolling. 5. With 6-foot wingspan, sound of swish, it thinks the game board is a fish. Die. Ready? Go.
Ready. Door. Racket. Saber. Racket.
Wait, that was racket. Oh, no, we need and time went out.
All right, run it back. We're fucked.
We're halfway there. All right, rhinos again. Don't be fooled. It isn't thunder. Staying put would be a blunder. We need a rope.
Ready.
Rope or an hourglass?
Ready. Door, rafter.
There we go. Hourglass. Oh,
like the last one said, a card placed here brings dreadful news. This game is done. All players lose.
That means we get sucked into the game.
Fuck that. Oh, we're so close. You won. Bro, exactly, too. You got to say it.
Jumanji! I love this game, and now I feel like I need to go watch the movie.
Yeah, right?
I love Robin Williams.
Me too. And the original is so good. I wonder how did you see the one with The Rock and Nick Jonas.
Wait, was Nick Jonas really in
I
it?
think he's in the second one.
No, I'm glad I didn't see it. Isn't it like? Wait, no. Isn't it like Kevin Hart, The Rock?
The Rock and Emma Stone or something like that, or one of those people.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
and what,
for sure.
Like Carrot Top or something. No, I'm. Just
That'd be
throwing
hilarious,
it.
right?
He's all buff and shit now.
Yeah, no, good for him, I guess. I don't know. Like, yeah, I didn't watch those either, and it wasn't one of those nostalgia grabs where I was like, oh, I could totally see myself like loving this.
Enjoying
it. Wasn't. It didn't hit that at all.
Were you a big X-Men fan? Like
I
the
think
cartoon?
so. I watched the '90s cartoon. I played the PS1 fighting game.
Okay.
That game is really good. Gambit was broken.
So good.
Yeah, I think I was enough. I watched all 3 of the X-Men movies, loved them. I watched Logan, loved it.
Yeah.
I think I'm a big enough X-Men fan. Why do you ask?
Have you started watching 97?
No.
On Disney Plus?
No, I haven't.
Man, I'll be honest. X-Men, the cartoon, was probably the only thing that my whole family agreed on. Like my sisters, my mom, my dad, we were all into the comics. We were into the shows. We were into the toys. And it's super nostalgic for me. It's probably my favorite cartoon next to the animated Batman series. And
like the Batman?
Like,
yeah.
Like the early one, like from the 92 to 98. But the new series came on yesterday, X-Men 97, and I was really nervous because I'm very critical of that stuff. Like, please don't ruin my nostalgia for a cash grab. And holy shit, I was almost in tears. So they released the first 2 episodes, then there'll be a new episode every week. But the intro shot for shot's the same, just in the new animation, plus a couple new characters. They're pulling so much from the comic books and from just like true like X-Men lore and like storyline. It's already so good, and it still has that like positive message, wokeness, like diversity overcoming sense to it. Whoa. So that series ended in 96, I think. The end of 96. This is 97. So it's supposed to be in 1997.
That's really cool.
The opening scene, you like see the Twin Towers and everything. Like it's supposed to be a continuation. And
that's really
just
cool.
The writing, the music, the animation, they did such a phenomenal job that I think everybody's super pleased. So if you have it, Disney Plus,
I do. Definitely. What a risk though to like make a sequel to a series that ended
20 years ago.
Yeah, that's like what a major risk.
Yeah, they even got some of the same voice actors to come back and stuff. So cool. Yeah, it's very, very, very cool. I fully encourage every X-Men fan and person who either was into the show or just is getting into X-Men now. It's really cool. They honestly did a phenomenal job doing it justice. I was like, the last episode ended and I sat there and I was just like,
I haven't watched a lot of the recent Marvel movies, but I'm really excited for the next Deadpool with like
Wolverine.
Yeah, what's his name?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Even though he said he was done, he was like, "Yeah, no."
I'm so glad Ryan Reynolds got him to come back.
So cool.
And I know a lot of people hate on Ryan Reynolds or whatever,
but he's great.
In my opinion, if there's a role Ryan Reynolds is meant to play, Deadpool. It is quite possibly Deadpool. Are you kidding me?
And like the story of like the original Deadpool and that one Wolverine movie that was like awful, and that he did play, and that he wrote like a Deadpool script because he was so passionate about like giving Deadpool like the real
redemption.
Like that is cool.
Yes.
Like no other Hollywood actor has that type of story about like the superhero they play.
Yes.
Like, right? Like I think that's awesome.
Yes, I agree. I think that they do. I think he did a phenomenal job. I think people hate on Ryan Reynolds, but he did shit with like Wrexham. He like took over a soccer team in England.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Leading them to like win.
Isn't there like a documentary series about it? Yeah, he's such a cool dude.
They weren't even in the league for like 30 years or something like that, and he gets them back in the league, and then they win a championship.
Hell,
like super cool. But yeah, I think the Deadpool Wolverine movie is going to be hilarious. It's going to be phenomenal. There's so many goofiness and so many of the characters from like Fox, and like they said that there's even a point where he goes like through other universes and he ends up like in an animated, like he ends up in like X-Men 97.
That's
like they show him like drawn and stuff during the movie.
That's
like
awesome.
It's gonna be so fucking funny. And they got I mean, dude, they got Jennifer Gardner making a cameo as Elektra and Ben Affleck as Daredevil. Like all of those, like early like Fox movies. Remember those?
Ben
Like,
Affleck is Daredevil. He was so
yeah,
young.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
so young.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh my god, that's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. And so that's like Jennifer Garner. She played Elektra. Like,
Yeah, I remember.
there's supposedly a really funny like Chris Evans thing to where like he's the Human Torch like he was in the original and Captain America. Like
That's
he
awesome.
cameos as both. Like I'm just like, oh my god, this is gonna be so funny.
That's awesome.
Ian McKellen, yes, who
Yeah.
played Magneto.
Yeah.
He's in it.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be dope. I'm really excited.
I can't wait. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're pulling out. You have to. If you're gonna
Everybody.
make Hugh Jackman
Yep.
get on set for 8 months, you better
Yes.
make it worth his
They're
time.
saying that Doctor Doom's gonna be in it. They're
Wow.
saying because it's like introducing like X-Men or Marvel Secret Wars and stuff. So it's cool. What's the last Marvel like TV like series you watched? Like one of the Disney Plus ones. Like, did you see Hawkeye?
Did not watch Hawkeye.
Hawk and Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Is that a series?
Yes.
No, I don't think I've watched any of the Marvel series. If I'm being honest,
okay.
Like, I think the last one I almost watched was Shield, Agents of Shield.
Don't watch.
Well, yeah, but when did that come out? In like 2009?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I was in high school.
Yeah. So like, I'm definitely I fell out of the loop of the Marvel stuff right around Guardians 2 was really good. I saw that in theaters.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
Are you about to say you've never seen Endgame?
No, I haven't seen Endgame. Yeah, you're right. I've never seen Black Panther. I've never seen Endgame. I've never seen basically everything. It like there's this line that was like harshly drawn for me, and I remember when it was drawn. I saw Ant-Man in theaters. I was like, "This sucks."
It's fucking
Ant-Man. I was like, "This, yeah, for sure." It's like the
great actor, but
totally the great world. Like it was like funny enough, but I was just like, "This is like not for me." But it's like it feels sacrilegious. It does. I remember being a kid in like seeing Iron Man 1 and 2 and like having this like slow rollout of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
And having this neighbor in my ear filling in like he's like, this is leading up to this and this is leading up to this and they might do this and this is how it happens in the comic book. And that scene at the end of the credits, that's because of this. And like I had all of that. It was all, and I think it might have been that like the overexposure to like what was coming. And then
they just started pumping it out too much. Like those first 10 years, we had 7 movies. You know,
that's true. It was like one every couple years.
Yeah, we had Iron Man 1 and 2. We had
it's a lot of content.
Thor. We had a Captain America, and we had an Avengers movie. Even call it Avengers 2. All those, you know, those 8 movies were in 10 years. Now we're from those 10 years to the next like 7 years. Between TV shows and movies, we've had like 20.
It's like a full-time hobby.
It is.
For sure.
It is.
For sure.
And they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think now is like, I think no one expected DC to have like a re-rise in the cinema. And I think now is like a really great time for whatever studio is working on DC stuff to like really hit it.
Yeah.
Because I do think the Justice League movie it came out at the wrong fucking time.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with Zack Snyder as a director, as a writer. I don't think he makes sound choices, but that movie came out at the wrong time.
You can't create something that's supposed to be such a big thing as like an intro movie to this whole world. You have to build up to it. Where's the foreplay? Now, I'm not saying like, please, for the love of God, stop with the first movies being these like, you know, the story of like the
origin story every time.
Everybody knows how Batman started. Everybody knows Superman. Everybody knows
Batman movie was really good.
New Batman. See, perfect example.
Robert Pattinson's for the boys now.
Yes, you know,
Cedric Diggory, my boy.
I don't need all this background. Give me the fucking movie.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's what James Gunn does with like. They already announced like it's a Superman movie coming out, and
so hard.
It's like, please,
so hard.
Thank you.
It's so hard.
It is.
Superman is he's hard to make into a video game. He's hard to make into a movie.
You gotta stop with Superman being the first one. I think what they need to do is, you know, I feel like they're just spreading around too much because it's like, okay, so now is the Robert Pattinson Batman completely from another universe?
Well, where's the Joker land in this universe?
Joker's
Multiverse.
in the next movie in Batman 2. They're
In the
introducing
Robert
him.
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, yes.
Robert Pattinson. Thank you.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson. Okay, so that Joker exists in the Robert Pattinson world.
A new Joker, not the Joker movies, like the Harley Quinn Joker that's coming out.
So
Like,
that is a separate.
that's a separate one
That's
too.
just a separate with Joaquin Phoenix. He's not
Yep.
going to be in the Robert Pattinson.
Nope. It's a different Joker.
And then they had the Joker from Suicide Squad,
Correct, Jared Leto.
which lasted as long as it needed to,
and that's where there's already like mud in the water because it's like, so now Peacemaker. You've seen Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Did you watch the TV series?
I did not watch the TV series.
Phenomenal series. Not a fan of John Cena. That series made me a fan of John Cena. He did
Wow.
a really good job. Super funny.
I saw they renewed it, didn't they?
Yes, season 2. I heard he is going to be in possibly the James Gunn universe, but how do you tie, you know what I mean? It's like we're jumping all over. I think he's a little too goofy, like Peacemaker. I think DC needs to lean into like the darker side because that's what
good
they were
at it,
known
apparently.
for.
Yeah, apparently it's like, and like the Dark Knight series is a great example of cinema that I think this is my current problem with the Marvel movies. Iron Man 1 stands alone as a fantastic movie with no context around it.
Correct.
As like you don't have to read any comic books to know
what's going on,
enjoy the movie, like be bought in as the viewer to the hero and like the hero's arc or whatever.
And that was a good origin story because most people don't know where Iron Man came from.
No, I didn't at the time.
Yeah.
My neighbor definitely helped fill in the blank, but same with the Dark Knight series. I think that like that series just like exists on its own outside of like the DC lore.
Correct.
But I don't know that a lot of Marvel movies and series kind of exist as on their own as good cinema.
Correct.
Like I think that's where we're missing the mark with like newer movies.
Correct.
Like Guardians 2 was a great comic book movie. I don't know that it's a good movie.
Correct.
I don't know that its pacing is really good. It's good to me because I understand the sequence of events and where it exists in a timeline and all that stuff.
And that's what I've been telling people is they're making good comic book movies. And that's what people need to look at them as a comic, to where Marvel comes out with 20 comics. They have 20 different comic lines going at one time because they know not every character is for every person. That's why they have so many characters. They want you to resonate with your
character.
Hero.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
Find who you connect with because we have that person in our world. And that's what I think people need to realize too, is you don't have to watch every series, or you shouldn't have to, or watch every movie to still get the grand scheme of things. Because if they're doing it right, they can intertwine these characters and you will get who they are without having to know.
Right.
And watch the 10 episode series that, like they did Kamala Khan. She's like a Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan character, to where she's like newer, she's younger, but we got a whole series of her, and it was like, did we need that? Now again, they did it because they're appealing to younger girls,
fans.
Different fans. It's great that Marvel's not shy of bringing in every ethnicity now, as they should.
Right.
But
I think they took a huge risk with Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like in like, when did it come out? Like 2016, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
They used a hip hop artist to make like its lead song and like most of the soundtrack. Like no movie was asking people like Kendrick Lamar to like be, let alone Disney Marvel. You know what I mean? Like it was a risk. I think like and I haven't seen it, but I know enough about it culturally where like it's very clear like every decision was a huge risk. Like, are we gonna offend a bunch of people? Yes. Are we making the right choice with the music? Yes. Are we making the right choice with the set and design? Or like, are we paying respect to where these things come from and what they're referencing? Like this is a lot different than making an Avengers movie. It has way more that they nailed it. Yeah. It was a huge risk, but they nailed it.
I agree. And I think that you have to make something for everybody, and there's nothing wrong with that. People are going to critique and be keyboard warriors and, you know, comment and do their reviews and talk shit about everything, no matter what. Like, people are talking shit about like X-Men 97, and it's like, oh, it's too woke. I'm like, have you never read an X-Men comic? Because the whole point of X-Men is about diversity and indifference, and the X-Men being mutants and facing genocide and facing to be forced to like register with the government and like all these different
All
things
these like
that are,
very relevant and
yes,
were relevant in the 90s and like
relevant then,
yeah.
relevant now. They talk about all of these rights. Like, for example, why are people pissed that morph is binary, non-binary now? They're like, why they gotta even say it? Okay, did they need to say it? Do we need to disclose a cartoon character's sexuality? No.
Have
Go
you
ahead.
played The Last of Us 2
The Last of Us?
Part 2?
No, I have not.
There's like a trans main character
Okay.
and they don't say it.
Okay.
But everyone's like, well, why'd they have to put him in there? It's like, well, why'd they have to say it? It's like, well, when they don't say it,
Yeah.
it's still a problem. It's
Yeah.
still a problem
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah,
right?
it's
like,
insane
it's
to
like,
me. Like, they're like, well, why does he have to be non-binary? I'm like, you
how
mean
does that add to the story?
the person named Morph, who literally is a white, completely white blob character
Of course, they
that
would
can
be
change into
non-binary.
men or female.
That's
And he does. And in the comic book, he does. And he pretends to be a female and hooks up with dudes, and then pretends to be a dude and hooks up with females. This is comic book lore. This
like
happens. Who's being offended by this? Like, I mean, I know who's being. I
Right.
know the kind of people are, but it's just, it's very strange.
yeah.
People are so quick to, you know, we live in a world where there is millions and millions and millions of gigabytes of information and content. Consume what you want. Like, I see so many people choosing to watch things and to engage in things that get them frustrated. And it's like, dude, the internet, especially like Instagram and like TikTok and stuff like that, the algorithm is based off of what you're putting into it.
right.
So if you're feeding into all the shit you don't like, you're going to keep seeing shit that agitates you. Create the world that you want to live in. That's why, like, on my Instagram, I've unfollowed so many people, and then I'll go through and I'm like, you know what? This week, I really want to see a bunch of X-Men stuff and a bunch of video
And
game
that's all
stuff.
it's gonna feed
So
me.
I'll like a bunch of X-Men and video game stuff, and then for the next whole week, 2 weeks, that's all I'm
That's
seeing
all.
on my
That's all your
feed.
feed is.
And I
Yeah,
love it.
I love that
It's not
too.
getting me pissed. I'm not getting aggravated. I'm not seeing all this same things on my feed. It's like, dude, it's our social media. It's our internet. We need to make sure we're doing what we can to. Why is the internet pissing us off when we're the ones creating what we're seeing?
Yeah, like
You know?
literally curating the experience. Like I can't engage with politics online anymore for my
Yeah.
mental health, and I need to curate this feed so that I can enjoy this experience of like seeing what the people I care about are up to,
Yeah.
while also like getting a break from reality for a moment, which I think is the tool that social media is supposed to be.
Correct.
It's supposed to be for entertainment and connection, not necessarily like mass producing ideas all of the fucking time.
Correct.
If I feel like I've heard older people say this in the past when I was watching interviews and listening to podcasts, but the farther away you get from the noise in life, the more clear everything becomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Non-politic life. I highly encourage
Yeah.
everyone to
Yeah.
like just come. Like if we all do it,
Yeah.
things will
I
change.
say it all the time. Curate the world you want to live in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, you guys, I love that we played Jumanji. I
fun.
loved this week's Who Would Win and the answers. Always a great time connecting with my homie Sammer here. Now, if you want to let people know what you have going on, what's coming up, projects you got working on, if you just want to let people know what's up and plug yourself a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Let people know where to find you.
For sure. I'm working on something cool. I'm working on a signature headshot series.
Okay.
I've found, I think, what is my magnum opus. Sounds crazy to say. Maybe it's not my magnum opus, but I found like something that's really mine in this world of photography.
Okay.
So I'm working on that. Working on a photo book. I'll probably come bring you one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on a photo book, which hopefully will release sometime this summer or fall. I've literally spent all day like gathering. It's all concert photography from over the years. Working on that. just a lot of balls in the air. This is definitely a photographer's like slow period. So working towards getting some of the housekeeping shit on my business end that keeps things going. And then looking forward to an interesting Milwaukee summer. It's not going to be dull.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Never is.
it's not going to, but with all the things that are happening in Milwaukee this summer, it will be interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And playing more games. Dragon's Dogma comes out right now.
Okay.
Looking forward to playing that.
What are you playing that on?
PC.
Okay.
Just beat Elden Ring for the first time in anticipation for the DLC.
Okay.
I 100% Final Fantasy 16.
Oh shit.
So and the art book that I pre-ordered last summer shipped yesterday from Japan.
That's a long way.
It just came. So that is like what I got going on.
So it's on the way?
It came. It literally came
arrived
yesterday. Yes,
nice.
It came. It's beautiful. It's awesome.
And tomorrow's supposed to be a snow day, so
yeah, I'm gonna be in. Yep, that'll be me tomorrow morning.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Let me know what you guys think. Who do you want to see on the next episode? This was episode 25, I believe, of Word Wednesday. Thank you, homie, friend, Samra. Appreciate you.
Of course.
Catch him. We'll have his socials down below. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great one.